What's going on, everyone, and happy Monday. About 63% of the S&P 500 closed down in the red today, and there was a lot of excitement all across the board as the crypto market is still roaring. We saw some pretty crazy price action from stocks like SMCI, Tesla, Archer, Intel, and many others, and we also have some pretty interesting stats to cover in today's video, which shows what happens in 90% of Decembers during election years. So stick with us. We have some pretty cool things to cover and a lot of great setups to keep on the radar. But Tom, we're not going to waste any time, so let's get right to it.
Yeah, today was a great day again for XRP or Ripple. I noticed XRP was killing it today, up another like 15%. That was a great move. It's almost up to 3.00. So the whole crypto, at least, Bitcoin itself didn't necessarily have the best move today. It was actually down 1.6%. But this whole crypto craze is definitely still going on, right? Even if Bitcoin itself is slowing up, some of these others like Ripple are still doing great. So, we're still keeping our eyes on these, and of course, there was a lot going on today between MicroStrategy and Coinbase as well. Whenever I start and I'm looking here at MicroStrategy and Coin, of course, we see some downwards price action again, but it looks like Coinbase is going to be letting users purchase crypto using Apple Pay, which sounds pretty interesting. At least Coinbase was up 2% today, but they do have some work to do around this $300 support.
There we go. Yeah, so that's some pretty exciting news. And as we all know, the crypto market is in full swing right now as there's a lot of action on so many different fronts. So, of course, keep Bitcoin, Ripple, you could say individual stocks like Coinbase, Mara, MSTR, and others on the radar. They are crazy and they are moving in some pretty exciting ways. But another stock that we definitely have to touch on today is ticker symbol SMCI. This is a crazy one that, for good or bad, most people know about over these past couple of months. So SMCI popped up by over 20% today on news that their special committee found no evidence of misconduct. For those of you who don't know, SMCI has been one of the craziest stocks in 2024 as it had the most explosive run-up to start the year, and then it had, I would say, the most dramatic and crazy downtrend to finish the year. Basically, the company's been accused of many things, let alone like accounting fraud and manipulation and just some other bad things. And basically, their auditor left them, and they now have a new auditor. And basically, the stock popped up today because their special committee found no evidence of misconduct. But while this is like kind of good news, they still have a lot more to prove, especially considering that their new auditor has yet to certify any of their filings. But either way, the stock is definitely moving up in a strong way off of this news, but this stock is just like one of the craziest stocks out there, and even though the company does some whack things, the stock offers like a lot of great trading opportunities because it moves in such a momentum-filled way in both directions.
Yeah, it definitely does, especially if you can, withstand the crazy implied volatility on the options chain sometimes. But it can be really fun to trade nonetheless. Like today, 28%. That is a pretty crazy move, right? Most of the time you think of like, okay, stock's up 28%. Well, how much are the options up? The weekly options are only up like 400%, which kind of blows my mind. I would have actually thought that they were up way more than that, considering 28%, but this stock is a crazy one, of course. One thing that I thought that was really funny with this whole SMCI article is that this special committee actually found that the old auditor, which was Ernst & Young, said that their conclusions were not supported by the facts and that the firm's audit committee exhibited appropriate independence and generally provided proper oversight. So I don't know, Mike. Pretty funny, though, that they're saying that the last auditor was wrong and not supported by the facts. So I guess we'll have to see how this new auditor, what they have to say about SMCI, because I'm curious if this auditor now says that there's problems. We know that SMCI's special committee is a little bit fraudulent in its own right.
We shall see. The stock is definitely skating on thin ice as it still is. It does have some delisting risk from the NASDAQ. So either way, keep a close eye on this one in the short term. While the company does crazy things, the stock does move in a strong way, which presents some great trading opportunities in both directions. Ride that momentum, have stop losses, follow the money, but don't get too attached to either side with this one. But another thing that we definitely have to talk about is all of the craziness going on with Tesla. So we actually just had some breaking news come out to the point where the CNBC page is not even up yet, where basically Elon Musk lost his bid to get the $56 billion pay package reinstated. This is the second time the Delaware judge denied Elon this, and even though Elon actually had shareholder approval for it, this is sending Tesla shares down a bit in after hours right now, and this is coming after Tesla stock just got a price target upgrade to $411 a share, up from $287 a share. Either way, Tesla stock has been running in a pretty strong way, and it's actually like less than 15% away from its all-time high, or at least it was before this news came out. But Tesla has been one of the craziest stocks over the past couple days.
Yeah, and I was actually looking at Tesla really hard around this resistance around $360, hoping for a nice breakout here, especially with all that good momentum and news today with the price target adjustments and all of that coming out. And of course, this news has to come out. Thanks a lot, Judge in Delaware. I'll tell you. So there's not too much information with this yet. I'm still trying to figure out if Elon can still appeal this or not. I'm thinking that he obviously will if he's allowed to, but we'll see. Obviously, as more information comes out, like we said, this news just hit the wire, so keep that in mind. But so far, Tesla stock is rejecting pretty good, right around that key 360 mark once again. So we'll be watching that resistance very carefully over the next couple days and weeks, that's for sure.
No doubt. And another stock that is going full-on crazy mode, you can say, is Archer. So this is a stock that I'm sure many people love, given how much it has exploded over the past month or so, especially with those two recent big money plays. But today certainly wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, as the stock fell by nearly over 23%. And what's kind of crazy about this is there wasn't really any major news associated with this either. So this is pretty crazy, and a 23% drop is certainly nothing to ignore, Tom.
Yeah, definitely not. That was a huge drop, and I think there's a lot of profit takers here on this stock. I think everybody's been kind of questioning on the way up, hey, when is Archer going to turn over? When's it going to stop having these nice 15% up days, right? Well, it looks like that finally happened, right at the key $10 resistance. I will say, we've been talking about the $10 resistance over the past couple of weeks as well, so it's not like that this is an unsurprising level or anything like that, but it's such a big psychological level. And it's just natural to see pullbacks like this out of stocks that rise 4% on an average up day, right? It's not very often that we have stocks on the channel that rise 4% on average. That's a pretty big move. So nonetheless, ACHR, I think we can just chalk it up to being more normal. And we've been saying this, and I know, Mike, you've especially said it a ton over the past couple weeks, is to be careful about getting stuck holding the bag on this one. I know that ended up happening to a few people today, but I'll say this, over the past couple weeks, the 1,000% gainers that we've been seeing in the profits channel have been amazing.
Big time. So, Archer is a very volatile stock, and, moves like this are normal and expected to an extent. I know a lot of people are looking at Archer right now for potential dip buys, which is okay, but I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more of a cool down period with this one. This $10 resistance is heavy, and Tom, looking at some upcoming support levels, is there anything that truly stands out to you, or what are you seeing in terms of TA?
Yeah, the one problem with this stock is that it's so explosive that it's just roared past a lot of the levels, so nothing's overly established, but in the short term, I am watching a couple. As support, I do like $6.80. That's a recent low on this stock, and it ended up being the low of day today, so that could be used as a good support for tomorrow, along with $7 even. You could say that's a nice range there. Below that, I'll be watching for $6 and then $5.50 and $5 coming up, which was previously previous resistance there on this stock. So those are a couple levels to look for, but of course, previous resistance acts as good support now.
Yeah, so either way, we will definitely keep this one on the radar. I have a feeling it'll continue to offer some pretty good opportunities going forward, but we'll definitely keep covering this one. But on a different note, a stock that we definitely have to cover today is Intel, and they would have some, what I would call, good news. So their CEO, Pat Gelsinger, has been ousted by the board after quote-unquote disastrous performance. So Intel's a stock that has been unfortunately getting clobbered over recent years. So unfortunate, like even during a time where all other chip companies are just crushing it, and Intel's board has had enough of it, and they got rid of their CEO effective immediately. So they now have two co-CEOs, and Tom, I'm really just hoping for this to be like a point in Intel's history where they can finally start to turn things around, because it has been painful to watch the downfall of Intel, especially in a time where all other chip companies are booming.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of still surprised that they've been doing this bad, but, they haven't really had any hype associated with them, and they haven't really been trying to get into any crazy projects that people deem to be good enough to buy the stock, right? I think that the new CEO definitely needs to come in with a lot of positivity about this company, and they need to kind of start a really good marketing campaign, something like that, to get Intel's face out there a little bit more. And who knows, maybe we'll hear more news about GPUs and stuff out of Intel over the next couple of years, but it's going to be interesting with this one. And, it was bound to happen, right? Somebody had to take the blame for this.
Yeah, and what was nice to see, at least at first, is that the stock really was moving the strong way in pre-market. It did get rejected pretty hard, but I do like how it's starting to actually show some signs of life. Do you have any key levels on this one just to keep on watch for the rest of the week?
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy stock. It's actually sitting right around a key level in its own right around $24 to $25. This level has been a previous low and previous double bottom on Intel, so it's sitting right around a previous amazing level. As far as resistance is coming up, I'm really watching the gap to fill back to the upside here. I'm sure a lot of traders are going to be watching for that gap to fill back up to the $29 to $30 mark, so that's definitely going to be the next major resistance coming up. And in the short term, there's even short-term resistance right around $25.50, where the stock has bounced around 3 times the past couple weeks.
All right, sounds great, and we will definitely keep those levels on watch. And, we're actually set for a pretty exciting week, Tom, as there is a lot going on right now besides Intel, besides Tesla, besides Archer, besides the crypto craze and everything else. We actually have a good earnings lineup, and tomorrow things are really starting to kick off as Salesforce, OKTA, MRVL, and BOX are on the lineup after the bell. And as we can see as we go deeper into the week, there are some pretty big companies and some pretty exciting moving stocks on the schedule. I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but Chewy before open on Wednesday will be a pretty exciting one.
Yeah, Chewy will be big. I like Dollar General on Thursday, Lululemon, Path, Ulta, DocuSign. Thursday and after hours is pretty big too, with even Asana hiding down around the bottom. So definitely a big week there. And as far as the economic calendar goes, we had ISM manufacturing PMI this morning. Tomorrow we're going to have JOLTS job openings, which can be pretty big at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So definitely be ready 30 minutes after the market opens.
Sounds good. All right, well, with that being said, let's jump right into some SPY analysis for tomorrow. As we look at the market right now, we are still very close to all-time highs, and the market has been running slowly and steadily. What are the key levels to keep on watch for both directions?
Yeah, I got to give myself a hand after yesterday, Mike. I drew out the 604, 605 demand zone coming up here, or I should say supply zone, overhead. And I'm looking here, of course, today the SPY touches 604 and starts to slow down. For tomorrow, I'll definitely be watching 604 again and then 605. I think that's a big psychological level. Past 605, there's nothing established, but I'll be looking for 610, which is the next major level past there. As far as supports, there's a couple from from today that's pretty good, right around 602.50. I'll be watching that tomorrow, as well as the low from pre-market today, which was right around 601 to 601.40, which I drew out as a good demand zone. So that's really what I'm looking for tomorrow. The big thing is, will these highs continue to push? You know, we keep getting good breaks and good pushes above the previous day's high, and tomorrow we need to have a good high of day break today at 604.30 and get to 605 and keep going.
There we go, and shout out to you, Tom, because you have been on point with this SPY analysis, and these levels and zones come in very handy for many people. So huge shout out to you, and we will definitely keep these levels on watch for tomorrow. But I figured another thing that's certainly worth bringing up is what the market normally does in the month of December during election years. So as we can see with data going all the way back to 1984, 90% of the time, December has been positive. So that was really great to see, and we could see on average it increases by 1.3%. So based off of history, we're set for a pretty good December.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Going back to 1984, 90% of the time, right? That's pretty good. So we'll take that. 9 out of 10. That's usually some pretty good numbers. We normally don't have numbers that good, right? Whenever you're talking about a month being so positive. But I guess it comes down to also, you know, maybe a lot of the Christmas buying. I know people like to look at the Santa rally during December as well. But it's a great time out there to be a trader. And I'm glad to see the historical data continuing to, I guess, push the bullish narrative in the short term, right? It's been very fun here to end the year.
Big time. All right, well, let's get right into some setups and predictions then. A stock that is definitely on my radar is Apple, and it is to the upside. I know we've been talking about this one quite a bit over the past couple of days, but it is uptrending in a great way, and it is uptrending pretty consistently as well. This stock actually broke all-time highs today, and it had some pretty good price action, especially from open, and it has just been rallying pretty consistently. I really like the short-term price action, and of course, this has had a good influence on the market as a whole, given how heavily weighted Apple is into the S&P 500. But either way, it has shown some great relative strength in the short term, and it is on my radar for more potential bullishness. It would be great if we could see a breakout past its all-time high right around that $240.80 area.
Yeah, I love that resistance. I'll definitely be watching it for a breakout tomorrow as well. I love it when stocks are making new highs, and hey, let's go. It's been a fun end to the year with SPY pushing, and one stock that we have to look at is Tesla, and I was looking at it to the upside, but I will say that news that dropped in after hours today definitely has me worried a little bit with that Elon Musk pay package, but I was going to call this out, and then the news dropped, so we'll react to it, but I am watching this resistance at 360. It is a major resistance on Tesla. If we can get a clear break and push past that high and past the all-time high of like 362.80, go ahead and watch Tesla for a good momentum play up. I created an alert right around 359.90 so that as Tesla gets there, I get alerted. But looking at it on Bookmap, there was 418,000 shares stacked up around here at the end of day today. So that is one huge sell wall. If we end up breaking this, that's where I'll become bullish with Tesla. But if we keep rejecting, then maybe play it down, or there's just no play, right? I have to see a clear break, but that news today was definitely wild with Elon's pay package.
Over 400,000 shares stacked up at that sell wall is definitely nothing to ignore. So I will definitely keep Tesla close on the radar as well. But another stock that I'm certainly watching pretty closely is FXI. For those of you who don't know, FXI follows Chinese stocks, and stick around for today's big money play for sure. But looking at FXI, it had a pretty good day today, and there have been some pretty consistent bullish flows coming into not only FXI, but other Chinese-related tickers in the short term. These stocks were having historic runs back in September, but since that point have pulled back quite a bit. They're in the process of forming a base at their current levels. For FXI, it's right around that like $29 to $30 area, and they are uptrending like over like the past year, which is good to see, and they still are oversold in the broader scheme of things. So I really like the position that they are in right now, and I really like the reward to risk playing these to the upside, but it is worth understanding that these stocks are pretty volatile, and stocks like this one won't necessarily explode tomorrow. Like, of course they can, but I'm looking at this bullish setup more so in like the sense in like a couple weeks to maybe even a couple months down the line.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I definitely like FXI up as it's forming that base as well. I do think that there's a good base being formed, and if this is the bottom here, it'll be a pretty fun thing to trade back to the upside, right? I know that these China stocks, as they start to rise, they can make or go on some pretty good runs, as we knew back in September, right? That was historic. But with my next play, I'm looking at Taiwan Semiconductors back to the upside. While Intel's been a failure, TSM has been pretty decent the past couple years, and they've been dipping over the past few weeks. I'm going to be looking for TSM to continue to the upside off of this dip. If they're able to break the high of day today, right around 195.30, then keep watching it to the upside. If we don't break that, then I think it'll be a no play. But that's what I'm looking for here in the short term with TSM, is a good buy off of that dip on the daily.
Sounds good. All right, well, let's jump right into today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have Enphase to the upside.
Enphase, pretty good movement back here, breaking out in the short term, 5.28% today. If they're able to break the high of day from today, right around 75.60, then watch them up.
All right, with the next one, we have FSLY also to the upside.
Fastly, another great move, 16% today. If they're able to break right above 1032, then watch them up just above 1030.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Open, OPEN to the downside.
Yeah, Open has been really hot lately, but started to fall off today, kind of like Archer. So if they end up falling under the $2 mark, then watch them down. That $2 level will be a huge psychological level.
All right, sounds great. So we have Open on watch for a potential downside play, and then we have Fastly and Enphase on watches for potential upside plays if and only if they break through the levels listed. Basically, with these three stocks, the stronger and more consistent these stocks move, the better the setups become. These stocks are especially volatile, so you have to be happy to adjust and flow with the trend changes as they happen. Understand with any momentum-driven setup, the worst thing you can do is just hold the bag. So be quick to adapt with these ones. They do move quite a bit in both directions, and they are definitely on watch for potential continuations. But besides that, Tom, we are all clear for today's $2.3 million big money trade, and we are looking at ticker symbol PDD. So another Chinese related stock, and the big money put $2.3 million into the 100 strike calls that expire on July 18th of 2025. This is a bold trade, and I'm very excited to see how it does. This is a not only a big trade, but these options are at the money, and they have a good amount of time to them. Basically, the big money is buying this dip up in a pretty strong way, and PDD is at a pretty low level as well, and it's kind of basing around that same area that it has based off of multiple times in the past. Of course, it got as low as like around $90 a share back in September, at least on the daily, but it has also had pretty strong bounces around this area at multiple other points throughout this stock's history. Either way, Chinese stocks have been getting some pretty good bullish flows lately, whether it be from PDD, FXI, BABA, or even some of their leveraged ETFs like YINN, and actually many others as well. But either way, the flows are coming in pretty bullish, and I'm very excited to see how these stocks and setups do, especially with Trump heading in the office pretty soon as well.
Yeah, and I'm very curious of that situation, of course, but who knows? China stocks could still have some good movement in the short term. I'm definitely watching that $100 mark with PDD. The Trump situation with tariffs and everything with China definitely is a worry, but China stocks have been dipping so hard, and of course the Chinese government trying to prop up their economy and everything is a pretty big deal too. So we'll be seeing still maybe more situations with that, or more updates on that situation with their government. But Mike, PDD is going to be an interesting one. It's a pretty big money play, $2.3 million. The past couple days we've had some pretty big players coming out here, and there's been quite a bit of time too. all the way out to July. I think that's the big thing here. If you're not willing to give this one the time it needs, then it's really a no play. But granted, I do kind of like China stocks in the short term, though, anyways, kind of like your FXI setup from earlier.
Yeah, so there's definitely multiple ways to play it, but I'm very excited to see how these setups do either way, because they're at a very interesting point, and as we know, there's a lot of geopolitical, we'll call, stuff going on, and I'm sure we're going to be set for a pretty exciting 2025 related to Chinese stocks as well, especially related to the potential tariffs that are being talked about pretty constantly. So we'll see what happens there, but definitely keep this one on the radar. But before we go any deeper into today's video, Tom, we have to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Icy Pro, who's been in the Discord for almost 4 years now and hit it out of the park with FOSL today. He has been talking about this stock nonstop for a very long time now, and it certainly paid out for him in a pretty major way. So huge shout out to you, Icy Pro. Keep up the great work going forward, and I hope this stock keeps soaring to the heavens for you.
Yeah, that's a fantastic mover there. It's not very often that we see $870,000 on the P&L on the day, right? So that is pretty insane, Icy. A lot of people say that, it's steak night. For you, it's going to be steaks for the week. That is one hell of a gain there. And I love to see how long you've been in the chat, too. You've been calling a few really good stocks out over the past couple of years, and some of them have done fantastic. And I love to see these gains like this, Icy. It's not every day that we see 870K.
Yeah, almost 4 years in StockedUp as well. So huge shout out to you, Icy, and keep on rolling. And this is actually with your second account as well. So yeah, huge shout out to you and keep on rolling. If you guys want to get in on the action, definitely check out that first link in the description in the comments down below. We will be wrapping up our Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale pretty soon here. So definitely check that out. This is how you get access to the StockedUp trading floor for the lowest price possible. Again, it'll be that first link in the description and the comments down below. But either way, we are set for an exciting week. The crypto market's going crazy. We have Tesla, Archer, SMCI, Intel, big earnings. We have a Powell speech. There's a lot going on this week. So focus up. It's going to be a great week, and there's going to be a lot of exciting opportunities to go along with this. Remember, smart trading habits are more important than anything else, and you can learn all about this in the Key Lessons channel in the StockedUp Discord. Besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's crush it in the market this week.